Hello everyone, I'm Afshan Ahmed Khan and this is a presentation on setting up Kubernetes cluster on AWS EC2. You might have seen an orchestra in which a conductor orchestrates the musician to compose a melodious music. Likewise, Kubernetes is an orchestration tool which orchestrates the container to provide features such as load balancing, storage orchestration, auto scaling, automated rollouts and rollbacks, self-healing, secret and configuration management. This will be going to be a practical video and Kubernetes theoretical concept will not be discussed. So first of all, open up your AWS console. Once it gets loaded, then code instance is running. Now here we will make 3 new instances. One will be now here we will launch instance. So let's name this instance as master, as this will be our master node. Then select Amazon Linux and in the instance type we will go with T2 micro. Now for the purpose of connection, I have already created an key pair. If you haven't created, then click here and create your key pair. So I will select my already created key pair and then move ahead. Here I will allow all these 3 connection and then just I will launch this instance. Now till this instance is getting created, I will create another instance. I will call it worker. So I will call it worker as this and we will increase it to 2 as we will be going to create 2 worker nodes. Here again we will select Amazon Linux and then in the instance type we will go with again T2 micro. Here again I am selecting the already my generated key pair and here I will launch instance. As now our instances have been created, now we will Google for Kubernetes setup using KubeAdm. Since it's the official guide, we will go with this. Now, basically for installing the Kubernetes, there are 3 ways for input production environment. One is through the KubeAdm, another one is using the KOps script, and another one is using kubespray script. But we will be going with this selection. So installing KubeAdm. Now since here the requirement is of minimum 2 GB RAM and minimum 2 core CPUs, but in our Amazon AWS the T2 micro, for example, here the T2 micro instance type doesn't have that much 2 GB RAM and the 2 CPUs. You just follow with me, and the later part of this video we will use some flex to come over this limitation. So as mentioned, we need to install a container runtime. So let's first of this is my master instance. I will copy its public IP address, and then I will open my terminal. I will go to the directory where I have my private key, and then I will SSH with the master node. So now SSH is successful. I will install Docker as my runtime. Docker has been installed. Now again we will follow the guide. We now need to install KubeAdm, kubelet and kubectl. The Amazon Linux is Reddit based distribution, so we will follow these instructions. We just copy all of this and then paste in our terminal. We will again follow this guide. By default, the Amazon Linux boots in systemd, so we don't need to configure this. As default, C group driver is systemd. So we will move ahead. So now this command has been completed. We will now move forward. You click on using KubeAdm to create a cluster. Now while creating a cluster, as I have we can see here, we are recommended to add a control plane endpoint, but as we will be going to use just one master node and two worker nodes, so we don't need this. The another argument we need to add is this pod network CIDR. For this we will be going to use Calico, so search for Calico, and then this link will come. You will find this link in the description also. Then click on manifest, and then as the option given here of the pod CIDR, we will copy here, and then the command given here is KubeAdm init args. So we will run this command. Supplying is pod CIDR, pod network CIDR. Before this, I want to add some more arguments. Just run kubeinit -h. As we can see here, we are given an option of here ignoring pre-flight errors. We will use this option to suppress the check for the RAM and the CPU. So KubeAdm init pod network CIDR. We will add two arguments. One is num CPU, and also I will add sudo. So the command will be sudo kubeadm init pod network CIDR. This is copied from the Calico documentation, and then we are adding this flag to suppress the number of CPU warning, and this is to suppress the memory warning, as the recommendation is of 2 core CPU and 2 GB memory, but we have just 1 core CPU and 1 GB memory in Amazon T2 Micro. So we run this. So now this command have successfully finished. Now as we can see here, we are given this commands to run. So we will just copy and then run them. So we'll run this too. we need to apply a pod network.yml file, as we used pod network CIDR option and it was compulsory. So we will again come here, we'll copy this and then just paste. Again we will just copy from here and then apply this Calico configuration. This Calico now has been applied successfully. Now we can see after running kubectl get nodes command that the control plane is ready. Now we need to add worker nodes to this cluster. So we again go to the instances running. Now we select a worker node. And then here again on going to security, we go to security group, edit inbound rules and add inbound rules. This rule will be all TCP and its source will be IPv4, anywhere from IPv4. Add another rule for all TCP and anywhere from IPv6. You can either select from this drop down or you can enter from here. Save rules. So go back and I am just checking whether the rules have been added or not. So yeah, rules have been successfully added. Now we will copy the public IPv4 address of this worker node. We will SSH into the worker node. So SSH is successful. We now install Docker. As worker node does not have any container runtime. So click on Reddit based distribution and we now need to install KubeAdm, kubelet and all those commands. So we will again copy this command, then we will paste it in the prompt. Now moving ahead in the guide, here we do not need to run this KubeAdm init command, as we are going to set up our worker node, we are not going to set up our master node. So I just open a terminal for my master node. So again click on the master node, copy its public IPv4 address, SSH into the master node. So now we are in master node. Now here we will run this command to generate the link for worker node to join to the master node. Maybe sudo, I have forgotten to add sudo. So the link has been generated. We now just copy this link and paste it into the worker node. And again we also add here sudo before the command. And as we can see, the worker node has joined the master node. Now we run the kubectl get nodes command in the master node. Now as we can see, this host name is the host name of the master node as visible in the prompt, and this host name is the host name of the worker node as visible in the worker node's prompt. So worker node has joined the cluster. Now we again choose another worker node, again go into security tab and then again go to security group and add the security rules as we done previously. Now again we will copy the public IPv4 address SSH into this worker node. and now we are in this worker node. So again we will install Docker in this worker node. Now we will start the Docker service. Now we again go to the guide, and for installing kubelet and all those commands, so, we will copy this command and paste here. So yeah, kubelet and KubeAdm and all those commands have been installed. We now again go to master node and run this command to generate the link for worker node to join. We again copy this link and paste it into this worker node. Press enter. Maybe I forgot to add sudo, so again I add sudo, and now we can see that this node has also joined this worker node by running kubectl get nodes command. In this we can see that there is this is the new host name. This is the host name of this worker node, which is in the right terminal. Our two worker nodes has joined the cluster. Thanks.